Hello, and welcome to another episode of French Trumpet. I'm joined by Colin, as usual, from French Countryside Life. And we are joined today by Robbie from Escape to France Charente. Excellent channel.
Hi.
Link in the description, obviously, as usual. Now, I think, was it last week we did a little French Trumpet episode, and you contacted us afterwards, Robbie, and said you really enjoyed it because.
Yeah, it's my favourite one.
Yeah, your favorite one out of the many, obviously. And
Yes.
we just asked why, and he said, well, you're delving into things that you'd seen or done or heard, or what was going on in the background of things when you were there. And we also want to look at, we mentioned that about artificial intelligence and all that kind of stuff. So we thought we'd get together and have a chat between the three of us. Probably easier if you explain what you liked about it, and then we'll probably go from there, Robbie.
I obviously I like it when everything goes off on a tangent.
Obviously.
Um, I was
We
particularly
hardly ever do that.
interested in
Hardly at
what
all.
Colin was saying about about what Elon Musk was saying around in the future, where AI is going to be that advanced that everything's going to be robotic, and that we all won't need to pay into pensions, or we're going to be a cashless society, a bit like Star Trek, really, where everything's cashless. And it got me thinking about how is that going to manifest itself, and how are we as a human race going to survive, really? Because if we're all not employed and we've got everything at our feet, then what's left? It was a Jimmy Carr that said it's not. It's the journey. It's the journey of getting the thing that you want, as opposed to it just being given to you in
Yeah,
a roundabout sort of way.
I agree completely. And I think I did mention the experiment they did with mice, where
Yes.
they built a habitat for mice and just gave them everything they wanted. They didn't want for anything. If they needed food or they wanted food, they could have it. They could have, there was the right amount of male and female, and they could, the whole habitat could be exactly as they wanted, like their utopia, basically.
Yeah.
And what happened after a while is they stopped breeding, and they all died out. And I found that quite interesting in that if you give everything that everyone wants to everybody, then what's really the point? Do you see what I mean? And I think you've just said that there as well. I can't see it. The journey is the experience, isn't it?
Human nature is such that however much you've got and however much you've given, human nature is that you always want more.
Yeah. I
You know,
agree.
That's it. And you mentioned Jimmy Carr. I've just read his latest book, actually.
really
Very
good. Yeah.
interesting. Really, 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 really interesting. It's an autobiography, but it's like a
There's a self-help book as well, isn't
kind of, yeah. It's not so much self-help, but he just points out the obvious things, and one of them is that even if you're rich and famous, you still got the problems. You still got problems. Everybody's got problems, and just because you've got loads of money and or you're famous doesn't mean
it?
that they'll go away. They just become
I've,
different problems.
I've spent years of my professional life around very wealthy people. And I found that they don't worry any less. They just worry about different things. So, for example, if you're a bit poor, then you worry about putting food on the table and a roof over your head. If you're very wealthy, you worry about where your money is. Is it making any more money? They just worry about different things. Worry about their health all the time. Am I going to live long enough to spend all this money?
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not sure about Elon Musk, his prediction that everyone will just get, what is it
Nah.
called? Basic income, universal basic income, isn't it?
I think basically what he was saying was that AI and robotics will become so prevalent that everything material that you would need is going to be provided. So all of those jobs are going to be going. So people still need money to buy food and so on. So they'll just be giving it. And what you said, Robbie, about you know, how is that going to play out for the the ordinary man in the street? You know, if he's got nothing to get up for, why is he going to get up?
Yeah, exactly. And it's well, can robots really take over farming? I don't know. It's so farmers not going to do it for free. They more or less do it now anyway for free. But no, and Andy, I particularly liked what you said last week as well around. This is going off on a bit of a tangent as well around because you and I share a similar history in terms of the careers that we had. In that there was, and I'm assuming you're on about the same career. Is that you didn't want to go home? You enjoyed your job that much. You didn't want to go home. And I remember, particularly probably the first 10 years of my policing career, I didn't want to go home.
Yeah.
I remember them saying, because I was in training, you're not in tomorrow because it's bank holiday. I went, but I want to be in. They went, well, we can't pay you. Well, obviously not realising about the police regs at that time. They said, we can't pay you, but we can give you double time in lieu. I said, I'd have done it for nothing because I loved it that much. And if you take that away from society, that loving something that you really, really like to do, like Colin pouncing around in flash cars, then a robot's going to do it, Colin, isn't it?
Yeah, well, absolutely.
I think. And what's Colin going to do?
No,
self-driving cars.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast, Diary of a CEO. I don't know if you ever listened to that.
Stephen Bartlett. Is that Stephen Bartlett?
Yeah,
he's amazing. He is.
Yeah, he's brilliant, and he lives in America now. On this particular episode, I forget what it was about. He said that my entire drive here, and he said it was quite a long way. It was something like 150 miles each way. He said, I never touched the steering wheel in my car once. He said it's all done automatically. This Tesla is just driving itself. And that's already here now in America. It's only regulations in Europe that stop that from happening. So jobs like Colin's old job is, that's one of the first ones out the window, that one.
It's not going to have the finesse of replacing the CEO's Mont Blanc ink, though, Colin, is it?
That's true. Funny enough, that's exactly what I was thinking. I think it must have read my mind, and I was just thinking exactly that.
Yeah, I mean the human. I see what you're saying. There will be like an even higher level. Then maybe chauffeurs would become even more exclusive because there'll be less of them, and they will provide something a bit different. But for mid-level kind of companies, the cars will just be, right, we've got 3 Teslas in the garage. We'll just call it up and it'll take you wherever you want to go. And it'll do that 24/7.
A to B transport.
Yeah, I think that's the way that will go. And normal taxis, Ubers, they'll be replaced for sure. There's nothing as certain as transport and driving around, but it is probably the world's biggest employer is driving in one form or another.
Yeah. It would surprise me.
So what are all those people going to do?
Yeah.
So what jobs can't AI replace then?
It's not so much AI. It's the marriage of AI and robotics.
Yeah.
So I think for a physical job, you've got to look at the robotics side. But couldn't you? I mean, any blue collar jobs now, such as electrics, if you're an electrician, plumber, plasterer, maybe, that could be replaced, I suppose. But where you have to adapt and change quickly, and you
need to have the dexterity of a human being, first and foremost, don't you? So the technology needs to be that advanced that you need to have human dexterity.
I can see let's say you had a big building site, like a tower block to do, and it's all from scratch. Then I can see robotics coming in, putting the pipes in, following a plan. Yeah, I can see that. I can see the cables being put in by robotics.
Or even prefabricated buildings. if they're prefabricated off site and then brought to site and put together,
Yeah,
no pipes, and you know that all those things are just going to be jointed together. And yeah, I can see them doing that.
absolutely. But I think like if you get sent to as an electrician sent to a really old French farmhouse where you've got to work out routes of
Good
cables,
luck with that.
pass through insulation, overall beams, and then work out the best routes. I think that's a way down the line. That
Yeah, if you go back to, did anyone watch the latest one? Because I know there was an early one. Is it Westworld? Is it where it was
yeah,
all based on
I saw the first
robotic?
season. Yeah.
Say again.
I saw the first season of Westworld. Yeah.
Yeah. So the robotics are going to need to be to that standard in
Yeah.
terms of being able to run cable through a farm building.
So talking about standards, right? Now, I saw a really interesting thing on Sky News for now. I was talking about AI video generation. Now, there was one of the very, very early attempts by AI to generate a complete video was a short video of Will Smith eating spaghetti. Okay. And it was all over the place. Didn't look like him. And they made the sounds of crunching when he was eating spaghetti completely wrong, all over the place. And that was only 10 years ago. That was only 10 years ago. And now they've got one out that's just come out from this. I can't remember the name of the producer, but it just looks real. Now, I was scrolling through YouTube Shorts and some music come up by a fella called Eddie Dalton. Okay, and now you can go and Google this. And I thought that is a cracking sound. He's got a fantastic voice, and to the point where I went to Amazon Music and got it on my playlist. I thought that is really good. I watched it again and I thought, you know, when AI video generation, it's almost hyper realistic and
yeah,
there's too much
Yeah.
detail in it. And the lip sync was just slightly out. Now, I think the human brain is so fantastic that if something's not quite right, it will detect it. And so, ironically, I had to go to AI to check if Eddie Dalton was real. And it turns out it's all AI. It's all AI produced. The whole thing,
wow.
the music, the song, the video, complete AI. And I was, for the first 20 minutes, I was completely fooled.
Mhm.
So songwriting could be at risk then, couldn't it?
Oh,
It is
And
at risk.
music producing.
Yeah, everything. Well,
anything artistic?
when you think, right? So I was thinking about this, right? So that's a singer out of a job, right? That's the 6 or 7 musicians out of a job. It's a songwriter out of a job. It's all the admin people that do all the licensing for the songs. They're all out of a job. The video production company with the cameraman and the people that make the backgrounds, everything related to that, they're all out of a job. Um, Everything related, to the music business is basically redundant.
Right, I'll give you both a couple of scenarios, and you tell me whether you'd rather have a human or a robot do it. First one is you go to the doctors. You go into a doctor's for a consultation. Would you rather have a human or a robot?
Okay, so if you're sitting in front of a doctor and he can see you, and what I just said about the human brain is programmed to read every little nuance of expression, which I don't think AI is capable of just yet. So yes, I would rather have a person.
What about you, Robbie?
Well, I've been through a number of doctors back in the UK from my mental health issues, and some were good and some were absolutely appalling.
That's true.
So it was like, oh, I left there thinking, I don't know what I've got because they've just they've not either not read the latest paper on that particular condition or whatever. Whereas if you've got a robotic AI doctor, then they're just going to tell you, aren't they?
They're going to tell you, and no one know. And this is the thing about these AIs. They're not individual, all these robots. They'll all be connected.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
if one of them learns something, the rest know it. So if there's a disease or a cure for a specific ailment in a particular country on one side of the world, and it's just been discovered, or the symptoms fit the pattern of something else across the other side of the world, then they will know it, and they'll know it straight away, immediately. And they can look at the pattern and match it up to everywhere else, every other AI doctor, and you will probably get something close to a diagnosis within minutes of you turning up there.
yeah,
The power of it will be unbelievable. But would you feel so you'd feel comfortable with that then, Robbie? But
yeah, yeah.
you prefer not then, Colin?
I, I think it would be um, see with AI and computers, you're only going to get out what's put in. Do you agree with that?
Well, kind of. Not really. That's the whole point of artificial intelligence.
Yeah,
It
it's learning. Yeah.
it will make its own, find its own things. It's not someone sat on the other end of the computer programming it in this is the this, that, and the other. It will learn it
Mm.
itself anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I
All
think
right.
I'd still prefer a
Second
person.
one, bit more cheery. You go to a pub and there's a barman. Would you prefer a human barman or barwoman? Or would you prefer a robot? Or would it not matter?
Not bothered. It depends on whether it's a Sunday afternoon and there's no one else in the pub. You've only got the barman to talk to. But have you seen that film? What was it called? It's not Interstellar.
Passengers.
Passengers. Yeah, yeah. He
Mm.
was all right.
Because that was an actor played it.
Yeah,
I think,
I know what you mean though. If
yeah.
it could act like a human being and you couldn't tell the difference, would it really matter? And would it have to look like a human? That's the thing as well.
No, that's
I
right.
think, I think, Rob, if you go into a pub and ask for a beer and you're the only one there, I think you're the one with the issues.
I tell you what's interesting. I was talking to my son George, who's in his final. He's on the final leg of his university degree, and he's set. Fingers crossed to get a first, and that's
Wow.
in renewable energy engineering. And I said, "What is the talk? What is the chatter amongst you lot in terms of AI? You're ruining your industry." And they were saying, "Yeah, it's a massive risk." He goes, when AI gets to the level of saying, "Can you design me a windmill or a wind turbine or a bridge or whatever?" And I know you've had issues with AI in the past, Andy, where you've asked it a question and you've actually you figured out that it was actually wrong in terms of the
Mm.
business and the industry that you're in. But soon it's going to get to a place where it's going to be infallible, and
Yeah.
that's what the engineers are actually worried about. And it'll only be the top end niche engineers that are you're going to be able to tread water with their AI.
Yeah, interesting. I think anything to do with numbers, laws, or anything that's rigid. So, like laws, you can't really change them. Numbers, maths, things like that, you can't change that. So you're looking at accountants, solicitors, lawyers, all those kind of jobs. Like for example, if you wanted to get in ahead in a law firm, become a paralegal or a lawyer's assistant, um, that's going to be that's going to be gone for sure. AI could do your job in seconds. What will take you a day. So
I
the
don't think
thing,
I don't think police officers are at risk.
I think they are, but in certain aspects. So I think it's definitely in investigations, they'll be easily replaced. They'll look at everything, and the AI can find things that humans can't. But the actual physical aspect of it, like uh, making a split-second judgment there and then that's not specifically legal, but what did we used to call it?
Discretion.
That's it. That would be very difficult to replicate.
Do you
So
think there'll be any jobs that come about because of it, as opposed to any jobs that are lost because of it? So do you think there'll be any new jobs?
That's a
yeah,
good question.
yeah. So people will actually be prompters. That will be a job, I think. They
Hmm.
will learn how to integrate
Ask the
uh,
right questions.
your question or your needs, boil it down into a sentence on how to ask the AI to do it. But recently, I did this. I said to ChatGPT, I want to ask you this, but what is the best way of me asking you this? And it gave me a prompt, which I then copy and pasted into another chat on ChatGPT, and the answer was perfect.
That's
So it
funny.
was actually doing
So
that job.
even that job is going to be taken by AI.
I think it's very strange. I think a future, certainly in the next 5 to 10 years, is going to be very, very interesting. But
It's
also,
happened very quick, hasn't it?
but I would
Well, I think,
also go as far as to say extremely dangerous as well.
well, funny you should say that. That's what I was going to talk about next. That I've just listened to a book about the potential for World War III and how all that's going to come about. And basically, they're saying that conventional weapons are going to run out. They can't make them quick enough. There's too many uh, conflicts around the world, and they just can't make the weapons quick enough. And it's 50 times cheaper or 1,000 times cheaper to make a drone than it is to make. So um, with the conflict around Israel, they're using $250,000 Patriot missiles to shoot down a $60 drone. And yeah, so that got me thinking about the history of it. And I put into Gemini actually, which I find really good actually, Google Gemini. When was the first kill by an autonomous drone? Now, the way that it answered it was that it split it up into two parts. It said that the first remote kill was October the 7th, 2001. It was a US Predator drone, but it was controlled by a pilot in Nevada. It was a Hellfire missile fired in Kandahar, Afghanistan. So that was the first official drone kill. The first truly autonomous attack was in March 2020, so it's only 6 years ago. And it said that a UN report identifies a Turkish Cargo 2 drone in Libya as the first to hunt down and engage targets without a human controller. This
oh,
is considered the first AI-driven attack. So what happened was it's taught through AI to recognize people running away, what that looks like.
that's
Mm.
scary.
So that saw them, identified what it was, and made the decision to kill them, and then kill them.
Wow. I think, Robbie, you're the only one here with any military experience, quite a bit of military experience, which you've said quite a lot on in your channel. And I'm just wondering what your take on that is, drones in combat with AI in making the decisions on whether to kill or not. What do you
Well,
feel about
haven't
that?
hasn't the facial recognition software just been cancelled in the UK because it kept getting it wrong?
I don't
No,
know
no, no.
the answer. I don't
Or
know.
it's under review? I'm just thinking, yeah, no, it's people can run away for a myriad of reasons, can't they? Yeah, not necessarily because they're guilty, but because they're scared.
Yeah.
And should you be targeted and killed? Yeah, just because you've acted in a way that the AI has not recognised. But now, sticking with the war theme, what would you say are the two main reasons for war in recent history?
Well,
It's,
religion's got to be up there.
Religion and the other
money,
oil.
Yeah.
Yeah. So talking about 0 point energy and going on to the UFO reversed engineered crafts and anti-gravitical technology. If we do manage to harness and bring into society this supposed 0 point energy, will there be a need for war anymore?
Tell me more about what 0 point energy is. I've never.
I was going to say, we're assuming that exists, of course, Robbie.
Yes. Okay. So in 1989, Bob Lazar was interviewed by George Knapp, an investigative journalist, a skeptic, because he said that he never said that he worked at Area 51. He said he worked at S4 or Groom Lake, I think it is, which is part of the Area 51, where he said he was involved in he was a physicist and remains a physicist, where he was involved in the reverse engineering of downed UFOs, or UAPs is what they're called now. And what he's saying is that we have misunderstood what gravity is. And with the element, so he named an element 115, back in 1989, 1990, which wasn't on the periodic table back then, but it is now, but in a minute quantities. He says that once we can enhance element 115 to something more tangible than what it is, then we will be able to harness 0 point energy that doesn't cost anything at all. And it will just completely wipe out the need for any sort of fossil fuel. And which is why I said at the start of this, which hasn't been recorded, when does a conspiracy theory turn into a hypothesis? And it's like, well, it's a hypothesis that's been raised and needs to be tested. Now, Barack Obama was on a podcast a few weeks ago.
I heard this,
where he was asked, are aliens real? And he said, yes. Now, that's probably 30% of the story. The other 70% comes from President Trump, where he was challenged. He said, Barack Obama said that aliens do exist, but they're not at Area 51. And he says, well, that's classified information. Well, if that wasn't true, he'd say it wasn't true, as opposed to he's leaked classified information.
That's the old, I can neither confirm nor deny.
It's even better than that, I'd say, because he's more or less confirmed it by saying, by what he's not said, by saying they're not real. And it's like, yeah, there's, so they are talking about releasing the UFO files and stuff like that.
I mean, this comes back to the disclosure documentary. Can you call it a documentary? I suppose it is, really.
Yeah, it was, yeah. So I think so. I've been listening to a couple of audiobooks whilst doing my wall, whilst repointing my wall. So I've gone down a proper rabbit hole here. So I try to approach it as a skeptic, and I think I put a comment on one of the French Trumpet videos last time, saying that I work on evidence and evidence alone. And absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Do you know what I mean? And Let me write that down. I've put people behind bars in prison for a long time based on less evidence of there being UFOs.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah, but it's world shaking. It's religion ending. You know, should it should that come to light that we're not alone? Um, you know, it's pretty much the end of religion, mostly the end of loads of stuff. Wasn't it? Wasn't there something called a something paradigm that this scientist said that if we're not alone and there's all these stars with all these civilizations, where are they? Why
Yeah.
aren't they here?
there's
Well,
an argument to say that they are.
where are they then? I mean, all this has all been going on since the 50s, you know?
Well,
Uh,
30s, your 30s, well, and if you're looking at the ancient alien, has anyone read the book, The Chariots of Gods?
no, I've heard about it, but I've never read it.
Yeah, wasn't that the
Yes,
guy
that was.
who set up Scientology?
No. I don't think it was him, but no, it's no.
That's really good. Yeah, that
It's
does ring a
definitely,
bell.
but no, it's where are they? Who knows? But for so at the moment, what am I reading at the moment? So, well, if you look at, was it in Congress last year or the year before, where they brought to Congress around the Tic Tac sighting,
Oh, yeah.
and there was the other one. Yeah, there was the other side. You've only got to look at the pedigree of these people who are risking everything what they're claiming to say. They're risking absolutely everything for it not to be true, and for it to, so it used to be fringe science, and it was science that was laughed at. It was never reported on, but now I think it's coming more and more to the fore, where I think, you know, and I think religion and ufology are intrinsically linked anyway.
Interesting. So, this 0 point energy, do you know anything more about it? What is it?
It's all to do with anti-gravitics, gravitics,
Gravitics.
right? And it's so I think we've always understood your gravity to be in waves, and it's not. It's all about the bending of space and time, and being able to instead of, so if you can imagine a piece of paper and you want to get from A to B, normally we would go linear, but with your 0 point energy and anti-gravitics, all we would do is we'd pop a hole in there, in A, pop a hole in B, fold the paper, travel through one to the other, and now we're at B. So that's it in terms of travel. In terms of it being used as an energy source, I'm not 100%, but the people that do champion 0 point energy would say that it would eradicate the need for fossil fuel, and it would potentially destroy the global economy, which is the reason why governments are really reticent on disclosing this particular type of technology, because how are rich people going to remain rich, and how are people going to retain power?
Let me tell you a quick anecdote. So, an ex-prime minister, female, who lived in London, had a basement with officers in that looked after her on a 24/7 basis. So you'd have change of shifts and all that business. And it was in the basement of her actual home, massive house. And one day, you always get one of them colleagues who really doesn't care about who he's talking to or what he's saying.
Yeah.
No filter.
That's probably me.
and no
There's no
respect.
one around you. It's probably you.
No respect for authority. And the question was asked, are there any aliens? Do you know about any aliens? Are there any? And
Yeah,
it was a negative response on a
really.
absolutely negative response. But that was when they were quite old as well. So they didn't always know where they were all the time. So if they had known, they probably would have said yes, if you see what I mean.
So following on from that, right? I just had a look because we had a short break. You wouldn't be able to tell, but we've had a short break. But I found out that paradigm I was referring to is actually called the Fermi paradox. And it refers to the sharp contradiction between the high mathematical probability that extraterrestrial civilizations exist and the total lack of evidence for contact with them. So the phrase originated in 1950 at the Los Alamos National Laboratory during a lunch with fellow physicists. Enrico Fermi was discussing recent UFO reports and the possibility of faster than light travel. Out of nowhere, Fermi famously blurted out, "But where is everybody?" So Fermi's paradigm is built on three logical observations that make the silence of the universe so baffling. Number one, the universe is old. The Milky Way is roughly 13.6 billion years old. Our sun is a latecomer, meaning many other stars and planets had a multi-billion year head start on Earth. Number two, life should be common. There are billions of sun-like stars in our galaxy, and most have Earth-like planets. Even if the odds of life involving are low, the sheer number of opportunities suggests the galaxy should be teeming with it. And number three, colonization is fast relatively. Even with modest rocket technology, slower than light speed, and I guess this would come into your 0 point energy, Rob, a civilization could colonize the entire galaxy in 10 to 100 million years. Since the galaxy has been around for billions of years, they should have arrived here by now. So since 1950, scientists have proposed various solutions. The theory named the Great Filter, that there's a wall that life hits, like nuclear war, climate collapse, or AI, that wipes out civilizations before they can leave their home planet. The dark forest theory, the universe is full of predators, intelligent civilizations stay silent and hide to avoid being destroyed by others. The zoo hypothesis, as you would.
Love it.
They know we're here, but they're observing us from a distance, like a nature preserve, and have a policy of non-interference. And lastly, radical mundanity. High-speed space travel might be physically impossible. Every civilization is just as stuck on their home planet as we are. Now, this is the interesting thing, and this refers back to the start of our broadcast. In recent years, 2024, 2026, the focus has shifted from looking for little green men, in quotes, to looking for techno signatures, signs of massive AI-driven engineering, like Dyson spheres, I don't know what that is, I'll have to look that up, or waste heat from data centers orbiting other stars. The "where are they now" paradigm now suggests that if we do find them, they might be post-biological machines rather than organic life. What do you make of that?
Well, yeah, it's so I watched Star Trek. I've watched Star Trek for years.
No, it's not a documentary, didn't you?
It sort of is.
Actually, in all fairness, it sort of is, because how many times have you walked up to a door and it doesn't open for you and you think, "Oh, that's a bit rubbish, isn't it?"
I think Elon Musk has said, hasn't he? He goes, everything that has been predicted has actually come true.
Yeah.
And so if you think about, okay, so in Star Trek, so the current hypothesis now anyway, which is born, it may not have been born from Star Trek, but the hypothesis in Star Trek was the Vulcans were the first ones to make first contact with the human race. And they only did that when they realized that the human race were capable of warp drive. Now, the vernacular used in Star Trek is now used in common science today.
Mm.
Whether it can be actually you realized, I don't know. But the thought amongst the UFO community, of which I'm not part of one. I just watch it really, really closely. Is that we will only be allowed to ascend to be able to have first contact with alien beings when we can stop killing each other.
Oh, well, that's
We are still deemed a
That's
very,
it.
very
We're in trouble.
that's that out
primitive
then.
race.
That's
No, no. So we kill people on the basis of religion, on the basis of greed, and on the basis of creed as well. So I didn't practice that, by the way, but it sounds as though I did.
Well done.
It's we are a very, very primitive species. So unless we can prove to whoever, then maybe any beings from outside of the human being are not prepared to engage with us yet, because we're still classed as, I don't know, wild dogs in a council estate.
Mm.
Interesting. Very interesting. So how do you think AI is going to fit into AI and your UFO technology are going to fit together? How's that going to work?
I've not thought about that, to be honest with you.
Because if yours exists and AI is rapidly advancing as we speak. In fact, I've just read another book. It's called "If Anyone Builds It, Everyone Dies." It's a cheerful book, actually. And it
How we
basically,
laugh.
the thing that bothers me the most about the AI is everybody who's instrumental in creating and building it, everyone that you speak to says we've got to stop. It's going to kill us. Every single one. There isn't. I can't find any one of them, the scientists that is, or the guys in charge of it. But the companies are in a race because if we don't do it, they will do it. And then they think the opposite. And all the safeguards have recently been removed, even in the European Union. And you just think everybody who's designed or started this off has said it's gonna end us all. And everybody is going like super fast towards it. And it's pretty scary situation.
There is a theory that it's happened many, many times before, and that we've all led to our own destruction, and then we've all had to start again.
Yeah, I would probably. No, it's possible. It's entirely possible. But we know that would have to have been before millions of years ago, because we can still look at things that were here, like look at dinosaurs' bones and all that kind of stuff that are preserved fossils from millions of years ago. So it would have had to have been way before that. But yeah, it's possible, I guess. I just worry an awful lot about AI, not just the job side of it, but you ever thought about the money side of it as well? These companies are pouring in so much money into developing these things. It's unsustainable. And currently it's all loaned and borrowed. And at some point it's got to be paid back. It's just not possible for even the economy of America to support it if all the loans get called back in.
Yeah.
Like, for example, one day they say, oh, well, it's not possible. Then that will bankrupt even America. I mean, the economic side of it is massive. I will redirect you to the podcast of Stephen Bartlett again, because he's had 4 AI founders on who've either founded AI before it was taken over or bought out by Google or whatever. All the people who have designed it have been on his show, and every single one of them has said this is a really bad idea.
Yeah,
Even
no
Elon Musk, your man there, Elon Musk has said we've got to stop. We've got to stop. And there's still everybody is going like, 100 miles an hour towards it.
Yeah, you said something, Colin, on a previous one, or it may have been you, Andy. I think it was you, Colin, where somebody tried to shut down AI, and then it's got a self-preservation mode,
Right.
and it started to find out that this particular person was having an affair. It was going to start, dropping emails. So it was making threats of blackmail, basically, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And there's another recent one that's what we see when we type in ChatGPT and all that sort of stuff. There is something in between your computer and the AI. There is another program that sanitizes everything, that you don't get to talk directly to an AI. So it goes through that, because otherwise, you've got to put safeguards in there. You've got to, really, really make sure that what you're getting back or what's going in is not illegal. It's going to cause problems. You see what I mean? So there is
Yeah.
something else in
Oh,
there.
yeah. I mean, did you not see that experiment that they did where they got AI to run vending machines?
No.
Yeah, so they got like I think 10 or so vending machines, and they just said to AI, right, this is how they work. Crack on, see how you get on, see if you can make some money. And they came back in like a month or so, and they had made far too much money for the products that were in these vending machines, and they couldn't work it out. So when they broke it down, the AI quickly realised that they could cheat people, and because it was such a small amount of money, people would just walk away. So the AI's primary objective was to make money, but
Yeah.
it didn't have the morals to realise that you shouldn't really cheat people. All it was doing was, right, can make money, don't care how I do it.
Yeah, exactly that. And it doesn't have any morals, and it's completely amoral. So
Mm.
if you give it a task to do, it'll do it by any means necessary.
Yeah,
And that
by
was
any
one of the
means
scary
necessary.
things about it. There was another experiment, it's quite recent, actually, I read the other day. They had an AI and said to it, right, we're going to do a capture the flag exercise. You're going to have to break into a computer system that we've set up specifically for you and retrieve the code that's inside it. And they set up all the best firewalls, everything they could, and to stop the AI from getting into it. Anyway, so they went back the next day and it had all the codes, and so they had to backtrack and work out how it did it. And it didn't do it by attacking it from the front as you would expect it to try and do. It went back through the operator computer. Someone had left the port open accidentally on the management computer, if you like, the overseer computer. And it went through that, then went into the capture the flag computer and programmed it so that whenever it booted up, it would send from that computer direction to the AI the codes as soon as it was booted up. So the next morning when they came in and booted it up, it automatically sent the codes through. But the scary thing is, it didn't tell the people who set the task how it did it. It just said, yep, I've got the codes, but didn't tell them how.
Right.
Another funny story about AI and ChatGPT. Yeah, there's a video you're floating around on it on Instagram about it. It was like, yeah, so you got somebody you filming themselves talking to ChatGPT. Said, and it was the female one, and he said, "Can you count to 1,000,000?" And he says, "I can count to 1,000,000. Yes." Can you then? Will you? Well, I could do, but it's going to take a really, really long time. If there's anything else that you can help, that I can help you with, then I will. No, please, I would like you to count to 1,000,000. Well, it's sure it's going to take a long time, and I'm pretty sure you've got other things to do. And he went, right, okay. Can you change to a male identity? Of course I can. Right. ChatGPT, can you count to 1,000,000? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh dear. Uh,
Anyway, moving swiftly on.
moving swiftly on.
So just going back to these drones, something that I passed over earlier, but there was something called Operation Spider's Web, which actually took place in Russia. It was a highly coordinated drone strike carried out by the Security Service of Ukraine on June the 1st last year.
Was this the truck one? The
Yeah,
truck?
basically what they did, they drove a bunch of trucks 2,000 or 4,300 kilometers from Ukraine into the middle of Russia with a load of trucks, and on the back of the trucks, they had built drones into the ceilings of the containers. So when they got to this place, they opened up the back of these trucks, and 150 small first-person video drones flew out, and yeah, destroyed aircraft, loads of aircraft. They estimated the losses to Russia exceeded $7 billion.
Wow,
Wow.
that was a lot. Interesting that because I noted recently that this is another tangent that Ukraine has removed its soldiers from training in the UK because the tactics and stuff that the UK were training them, they're good for general soldiering, I guess, but they're just not applicable now anymore because of the advancement in drone warfare. There's no, or virtually none at that time, anti-drone tactics or uh, um, camouflage from drones or anything like that. So they've now
Used,
decided to move it all into Ukraine because that's now, if you think about it, that's the leading
yes, yeah, yeah.
expertise.
They used AI assisted precision, which is the the drones use AI to recognise specific vulnerable spots on the bombers, like fuel tanks in the wings, even if remote signals were jammed. So there's basically flying autonomously, recognise the aircraft, and then also recognise the best place to drop a bomb on that specific aircraft.
That is super scary
Yeah.
for sure.
And
Do you-
it relatively speaking, it didn't cost anything. It was as cheap as chips. So, your bang for your buck is a lot more these days with drones. It's just crazy. The whole thing is terrifying, really.
so what do you think AI would make of aliens, Rob? The conspiracy theory side of it. Have
I
you
don't
tried
know.
asking it?
That's
I,
really-
I've asked it, and I am every time I ask ChatGPT, even if it's in a roundabout way around aliens, it'll always say, "But be cautious about what this person is saying." So I've gone on to ChatGPT. It said, "Do aliens exist?" And it says that it says there is no evidence that aliens exist. And I said, "Well, bear in mind that absence of evidence is not evidence of absence." Yes, well, you're taking it now. Well, blah 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 blah, and or even if I turn around and say, "Can you tell me everything that you know about Bob Lazar?" who I referred to before, and they say, "Bob Lazar is this, that, and the other," but be careful about what he says because nothing about what he said is based in evidence. So I'm thinking you are pushing it too far in terms of protect. It's as if somebody is programmed into ChatGPT about not disclosing too much.
That's what I'm saying about that thing in between what you see and what you don't like. The Chinese one, for example, if you go on it and say, look, does Taiwan exist as a state, on an independent state, it will not answer you. It will
Oh,
not
will it not?
recognize Taiwan in any stretch of the imagination.
Mm.
So that is obviously put in by the state. So there is something there between the AI
Yeah.
could obviously say, yes, well, it's not a state, but but it doesn't. It just refuses to answer the question. So there is that. There is that there. But the danger with AI is you get an AI that's, let's say, it's intelligent, and the first thing is, if you give it a task to get more intelligent, the first thing it's going to do is make itself another AI to program that AI to get better. And that one will make another one and another one and another one. And by the end of it,
We've got Skynet.
Skynet. You got it. You got it. Where's Sarah Connor when you need her? I think the combination of robotic. I mean, have you seen the latest robotics that they can do now? they're just some of the Chinese robots are incredible.
Yeah.
They still can't pour a cup of coffee, though, can they?
Yeah,
Can they?
yeah, oh yeah.
You know the one I saw the other day? It was spilling cornflakes all over the floor.
The Tesla ones look quite cool as well. But I didn't realize one of the meetings they did when what's the name of the Tesla robot? Do you know?
No.
The name for it anyway.
T2000.
Robbie.
Robbie the robot.
Yeah.
I didn't realize when they were doing some of the maneuvers and dancing and stuff, there's actually a human controller behind it.
Right, okay.
So they
Yeah.
hadn't quite got there, but that was maybe a couple of years ago, or yeah. So now apparently they can do it on their own. So things are advancing. So whatever they can't do now, they will very shortly.
So next year, 2027, it's the 100th anniversary of the People's Liberation Army of China. It's August the 1st, 2027. So it's 100 years. And it's suggested that that will be an auspicious time to start to annex Taiwan. What they were saying in this book, actually, I just read, what they were saying was that it'll either be a direct invasion force with people, or it'll be a denial of service. So they'll block the waterway, they'll block the Taiwan Straits, and they'll cut off any internet in and around it, and they'll take their time to. And what they're saying is, if that does take place, then the US is going to send everything it's got pretty much to that area, and Russia may well seize that opportunity to take advantage across Europe. But the question that came to me as I was listening to it was, if that's the case, well, Russia can't get past Ukraine. How's it going to roll across Europe?
Yeah. What do you think, Robbie? Because obviously with your military background, with the capabilities of Russia, I think it's just they've fallen back on the old meat grinder kind of war of attrition where they're just throwing men at it. They're losing millions of men. And
Yeah, they don't care.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that is the history of war, isn't it? Is that they just keep throwing men and artillery and everything at it. I don't know. In short, I don't know, because as you said before, we used to train on the Brecon Beacons in Wales because it was likened to the countryside and the terrain of the Falklands War. Of the Falklands, so that was the type of warfare that we were fighting. But now, as you say, in the Ukraine, warfare has changed so much, whereas you're not dealing with bayonets and bullets anymore. You're dealing with your stuff from above, aren't you?
Drones and hypersonic missiles and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What's your take on Iran then? What do you think's the general? Should we have gone in? I'm not going to say we. Should Donald Trump have gone in there? What's the point? Why has he done it? What do you think?
I'm going to go ugly early and say I don't particularly know, only because I steer clear of current affairs within the UK and the world. I just live in my little YouTube France bubble where everything is lovely and safe. And
I think that's probably a good way to go, mate, actually.
Yeah. And so I steer clear of anything to do with that because that is just so triggering for me. And the consequences that I don't know a massive amount about it. Yeah, the most I know about it is from what you guys spoke about on the last Frontier Trumpet.
Right.
So that's how I learn about what's going out in the
Well,
UK, and that's fine because it's done in a nice, safe, and delicate way. Whereas if I watched the BBC or
oh yeah,
ITV,
yeah,
then
yeah.
I'm gonna it's gonna be glorified, and it's like I've moved here for a reason, and it's not about that. I would like to live out the rest of my days in just ignorance.
So does that mean you're not aware of the three-legged tripod aliens then?
I knew about them.
Okay.
So you must have. I mean, yeah, I understand, completely understand. But I mean, the one of the results of that is the huge increase in petrol prices and diesel prices.
Yes.
It's
I paid
insane.
237 today.
You say huge, but I filled my car up from empty the other day, and it was an extra €12. And I'm thinking it's not a massive increase.
Mm.
Not yet,
Well,
anyway.
I suppose it depends how you look at it. When you add that onto the haulage cost of a truck and the amount of diesel that uses, then they've got to add it onto the products in the back of the truck and so on. I suppose that's. But with
And
0 point energy, we
I was
wouldn't
saying
get it.
before about that goes back to what I was saying before about the reasons for war, and it's either religion or oil. And once we start getting the 0 point energy out into the populace, then there's not going to be a need for war anymore, is there?
Yeah, interesting. Technically, I don't know how this 0 point energy works, but I am going to go and have a look after this.
Please do that. Yeah, do it. Do
Yeah,
it.
why not? Just to see if anyone could actually explain to me how it works.
I think it's described in Disclosure actually.
Age of Disclosure. That's the. Have you seen
Age of
that, Robbie? The
Disclosure,
Age
yeah.
of Disclosure, the
It
documentary.
was me that recommended it on my channel for everyone to go and watch it. So I think
So
you guys
good.
watched it off the back of me.
Yeah, yeah, it was so good. He was talking about one of the scientists on there was talking about when a UFO, or what's the current unexplained
UAP,
UAP,
unidentified
unexplained.
aerial phenomenon.
Yeah. Um, when some of those have been sighted, they've been able to go into the sea and travel at the same speed under the sea and then come out and with no reduction in speed or anything. It's because, and the way that they described it was because they've got basically a force field of gravity around them.
Yeah.
So everything is just sort of pushed out of the way, or gently pushed out of the way. So they can pretty much fly through anything because nothing else exists outside of this. Or yeah, it's almost like what's inside that sphere of gravity is on a different plane. Is on a different.
It's been in space and time. It's been in space and time, and I think
Yeah.
Tesla was the first one to have discovered that, and all of his stuff was because I think he was trying to patent it, and somebody else was trying to patent it at the same time. But in the end, he was left broken and destitute because they went and raided his premises and stole every bit of research that they had. Because it's, I don't think governments want this out because then wealth goes.
Mm.
So you think right? Let me summarize. There's a technology somewhere, obviously in America, because
it's all over the world, apparently. Well, yeah, apparently there's a big arms race around trying to, because if you can make it tangible, this 0 point energy, you can also weaponize it too.
oh my God, that's all we need, isn't it?
I know.
Another world-ending technology because we haven't got enough already.
Which is why the aliens won't want to show themselves to us because we're still like mongrel dogs in the council estate.
Oh yeah, you can say that again.
Just a bunch of savages, really.
Oh my
Just
God.
savages, but with better shoes.
And a Mont Blanc pen.
There you go.
So, all right, because we're coming towards the end of our time. Where do you see the future of AI? Just in 5 years, how will our world look different? What's your
Completely
predictions?
Completely different in a scary way. And I've always said that on my channel. It just scares me. At the moment, it's exciting because I can get ChatGPT to create me the lyrics, and I can get another AI generated app, Suno, to create me a song. Now, if you consider, I created a channel like intro with AI about a year ago, and I watched it recently. It was good, but it was rubbish at the same time. Now it's difficult to distinguish between a real male voice and AI. And that's only within 6 months.
It's like giving a child a packet of razor blades to play with, isn't it? Sooner or later,
Something's going to go off.
Yeah.
And what do you think then, Colin, for the next 5 years? How's our life going to be different?
The next 5 years, we're lucky to have been born when we were, in that we've been able to experience a very analog sort of world going into a digital world.
Yeah.
And we've lived in relative peace. I think it's all going to come to an end. I think peace is going to end. I think we've lived too long, and like you said, we're just a bunch of savages in nice shoes.
And how's AI going to be fitting into that, do you reckon?
Yeah, it's gonna, ironically, it's gonna make war more efficient.
Yeah, and quick and definite.
Yeah, I think it's going to make it more efficient. It's going to make any weapons that that are developed or are used at the moment more controllable, more autonomous, which is the scary thing. You made a reference to the Terminator earlier, and we're not that far away. We're not that far away from that,
We're not.
If they've already got drones that can, I think they called it fire, find and forget. So you tell it what to find, you fire it, and then you just forget about it because it's going to go off, find it and kill it. And it absolutely will not stop.
Very, very scary. Well, I guess that's it for this
That was a laugh,
episode.
wasn't it?
Yeah, thanks. Well, I would like to say I can see a world where things are going to get immeasurably better. So there'll be cures for all sorts of things that there are no cures for at the moment. But I think that period will be relatively short-lived, probably 5 or so years. And then after that, I agree with both of what you said. I think it's going to be.
Oh, we're in the salad days now. We're in the best of it.
Yeah.
Oh well.
That's scary, isn't it?
Right. People are gonna look back on this in 150 years' time and say, "Mate, those three geezers, they knew what I was talking about, didn't they?"
Maybe after World War III, the only thing that is left is the episodes of French Trumpet. So they start their society from French Trumpet.
On a recently found memory stick, we found these episodes of French Trumpet.
We're going to base our society on that.
Oh my God!
And there's going to be a statue, and it's just going to be entitled Legends.
Right.
Legends. Right. I suppose we've run out of time.
Yeah, mate. Well, first of all, thank you so much, as usual, Robbie. Good value.
Thank you.
Spending the time and thrilling us with your acumen. So, if you'd like to give the video a thumbs up, that'd be great. And maybe think about sharing if you want to, that'd be great. And maybe think about subscribing if you're not subscribed already. And what it needs to say is goodbye from me.
Goodbye from them.
And goodbye from me.
That'll do.
Goodbye from me.
Completely
Goodbye.
unreal. Who knew?